It sounds like, certainly sound like. Hi guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang.
Hi.
I had lunch with my friends. I'm basically forcing her to do the broadcast with you guys because I really want her to share her expertise with you guys. So let me introduce, I know I talk a lot, so let me introduce you for a little bit. My dear friend is a financial planner who also worked in the bank before, and then now she's having her own business and helping people doing all kind of financial plan. And reason I really want her to share her expertise with you is throughout the years of consultation, I often have clients come to me and asking about how can I get rich, like how do I save money, how come my money is always gone, how come I don't know where money goes.
Who does?
Who does, right? So, many of you really want to come to me and want to know how you can save money, how you can make money, how you can invest money, and things like that. I really want to let you guys hear from different point of view, like step outside of a psychic thing. Let's talk reality. You are all about reality.
Wow.
So that's why I really want to bring her in and then have her share her own personal opinion with you guys. And then hope that can benefit you guys too. New Year, Chinese New Year, right?
Oh yeah.
So
it's
to
all about
Asian,
money,
that's
isn't
right.
it?
It's all about money. So this year is all about money, right?
It's
That's right. This year is gonna be it, okay? To many of you, this year is gonna be the it year. So we're gonna make the money years.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well,
About your business. Tell them about your
Okay,
business. Like,
so-
what do you do? Like,
I'm a financial planner, so I
Yeah.
help people figure out their money. And I right now specialize in really helping families go through either a divorce and sort of help them divide assets and figure out what to do and how do you peacefully navigate this process. I also coach people and help them sort of get a standing on where they are, where they want to go, and how they should do it.
yeah.
And I take a little bit of, on one side, I work with the practical stuff. That's the knowledge that we have, that we learn from all the experience in the books. And then on the other side, I sort of use my intuition a lot to really understand what's important and what holds people back.
Yeah.
And kind of find solutions which are
She's one of
directed.
those, intuitive
Combination.
financial planner. So it's not just like financial planning.
It's an oxymoron.
Yeah. So anyway, just pretty good. Combine the intuition and then the practical side, like put your mind. So tell us, like, how long have you been doing this? Like, how long have you done this?
So the financial planning piece, about 15. It's pretty much been my career all my life.
Yeah. Well, ever since I know you.
Yeah.
So. And then along the way, that you also improve yourself spiritually. That I know you're working really hard, try to get your own,
So I did, So I did a lot of education when it came to the actual money side of it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I recognized when I worked in the bank, for instance, that people's relationship with money is so personal. It has nothing to do with how much money you have in the bank. The ones that are afraid will make the same mistakes. They will lose money. They'll invest in the wrong things.
Yeah.
They'll find themselves in places where they're always feeling pushed against the corner. And then there's some that they just do it. And I always wondered, like, what is it? Like, you've got two people, and why are they making it? Why are they not making it? And a lot of it is how they feel about it. Mm-hmm. And as much as people feel like, oh, you're so lucky, you've got so much money, it doesn't mean that they feel wealthy. It doesn't mean that they feel abundant. It just means that it's so relative.
It's so relative, right? That we come to this age that we all see the connection between their financial and their mind status. So, one special topic that I was really interested, I really want you to share with every one of them is during the lunch we're talking about how majority of the women, not particular woman, I'm pretty sure.
Just women.
It's just women in general, but I believe that also fall into some men too. But I just say using women as example. Seems to have hard time planning their money, or they think very little of themselves, even like they have a lot, but then their mind just don't think that way.
And it's one thing that I see over and over again, especially like when I'm working with clients that are going through a divorce. And you reached a stage in your life and you're actually walking away with a fair amount in terms of assets, but you don't know what it means. Like, what does walking away with $800,000 mean?
Yeah.
We can think, how long is that going to last? What do you need to do with it? Or it doesn't matter what the number is. And I think that a lot of it is around like women in, I shouldn't generalize, and I'm actually a feminist.
No, you shouldn't generalize.
I'm really a feminist, and I think, who was it? Was it the Dalai Lama who said that the world would be changed by the Western woman?
Yeah.
In one of his,
I don't know.
He's actually spoken that, and he said that in Vancouver in one of his speeches, and it's true, because I think women they have so much potential, and they have the caring side and the nurturing side, but I think when it comes to money, and it's probably cultural, it's from the time that we are girls, that money isn't something that we're taught, we're not talked about, it's a man's world.
Yeah.
And
so
lack of confidence.
So my debate to that is, I don't believe all women doesn't know, but from my personal experience in dealing with our consultation, I do realize women in general seems a little bit, just tiny bit, clueless about the whole financial planning, right? And then this whole financial planning really tying closely, like very closely, to why you complaining money is never enough, or how come you never make that money. So that's what I was saying. My debate with her is, I believe women in general was trained to function their emotion, like their emotion side of them. Therefore, they don't really have that part of, brain or extra brain to function the logical side, like, oh, how much money I spend, how much money I should save, or things like that. So anyway, today I want to talk about the importance of financial planning. The reason, the importance of it is, to many of you who is complaining or thinking money is not enough, don't you say financial planning is a key thing? You do have to have a basic knowledge.
I think before I get to the financial planning, the one thing I really want to stress on, and I'm going to use you as an example, and I actually used you in one of my work things that I said, was actually setting goals. And like everything else, you need a goal. And if you don't have a goal, you can't get there. It's like getting into a car and driving without a direction.
That's right.
So, and your own personal finances, people don't keep goals. It's just, nobody really thinks of where they want to go. And I was laughing once, because I remember this conversation you and I had 10 years ago.
I was still joking. I think I know which one we're talking about.
You want me to stop that about making...
No, you started.
So Joanne had come to visit me when I was working in the
when she was working in the bank.
And with her husband, and they talked about, and somebody said, hey, what are your goals? And Joanne turns around and said, well, I'm going to make $48 million.
Yes.
And of course everybody laughed, because who makes $48 million? Or how can you even think about it?
Yeah.
But I think it's really important, like having a goal and to be able to say it out loud.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, how many people actually turn around and say, I want to get a bigger house?
Yeah.
I can guarantee, if every morning you get up and you look at the mirror and say, I want this house.
Yeah.
And you keep repeating it, at some stage you're going to find ways to get to it.
Yeah.
So before you can even start planning, have a goal.
Have
several goals.
Yeah, no, I was having the other laugh. I was just mentioned this to Christian the other day. I was talking about, remember one time you were still working in the bank, and then we were supposed to come in and talk about our retirement plan.
That's the same time.
It's at the same time. My bad. I didn't know it's the same time.
And we were talking about different things.
I remember you telling me how much money you want to save, and I said, well, I'm not interested in saving. I want it to become an annual thing.
Yeah.
Right. I want money to come in every year. Yeah. And then she was like, well, Joanne, everybody's laughing at me. They're like, that's not how it works. I said, well, then make it work for me.
Like, that was my lesson, right? It's like,
I was like, I don't care, it doesn't work, make it work for me. And then he was like, well, but I don't know how to make it work. I said, then that's your job, isn't it? It's not my job, it's your job.
Well, yeah, I wish I could create with nothing, but I think that was a new lesson for me, is that, you got to, like, your financial plan is yours, it's nobody else's.
Yeah.
No one else can tell you what you should have when you retire, or how much money, or what kind of home you should have.
Or how much is enough for you.
Or how much is enough for you. It's so personal, and if you take it like that, it's your life.
Yeah.
You've got to take ownership of it. So once you've got a goal, then you can put other things into place. But if you don't even have a goal, which I don't know how many people actually have goals that they can think about, that they can then make steps towards moving towards. It's the rest of it will. Yeah, it's easier.
So like on the internet or anything or everywhere else, people always talk about having a goal, right? I mean, people always talk about have a dream and pursuing the dream. But honestly, let's talk practical here. is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
Right. So now let's say to average people like us, let's say average people make about 2 grand, 3 grand every month.
Yeah.
And then, they would list up everything and tell you, look, I seriously don't have enough. Like my spending is this, my rent is this and that, and that's exactly why I don't have enough. Which I would think is 80% of people out there. How do you how would you suggest them, or how would you advise them, or how would you recommend at this point, how can they shift it?
I think what you're talking about isn't so much my job. It's more like it's a mindset thing too.
It's a mindset. Yes,
it's very much a mindset.
I do agree with that. That's why I want to share,
because it's the belief that you don't have enough will always bring you the feeling that you'll never have enough, and you'll always be in a place where you never have enough. So I know this doesn't sound very financial planner-like, but I think the first step is to change your mindset, and then these opportunities will open up where things may come up where you can create a little bit more and make some more on the side. And I think we live in an abundant world, and I think there is always opportunities, but you can't see them if you believe that that's all you have. And that really goes back one more step before you get to the practical side of financial planning is mindset. I heard someone say a little while ago that, I know it sounds really harsh, but poverty is a disease of the mind.
Yeah, it is. You know what? It is. It's,
because if you can't conceive of something, how can you create it?
That's right. Right. So, another thing I realize when I'm, consulting people, I'm talking to people, let's say I'm poor is really a concept. I'm poor. I always feel I'm lack of money. I don't have money. I will never have enough money. It's really just a concept. Very often when I ask people how much you spend every month, they cannot answer me. How much I say, how much you spend on your rent, they don't know. How much you spend on your food, they don't know. And then I ask them how much money you save up every month. They say, I don't know. So it's very interesting that a lot of people come to me and say, I want to be rich. I say, okay, how much is rich to you? They say, I don't know.
And the awareness
of the number, they actually got no idea. They just know all they want a feeling. They want a feeling of being rich. They want a feeling of being wealthy. But then when you ask them how much would that be for you, because I don't think my standard and your standard would be the same, most of my clients will say, I don't know.
Or they'll associate it with something that somebody else has.
Yes. So when I realized, would you agree or not agree, very often what I do to people is start writing down. I start asking how much is your rent, and then they would tell me. I say, how much is your... No, so what I realized is this concept of poor me, this concept of I don't have enough, this concept of I cannot save our money. What it is really just a concept. You don't really know what reality is. And you continue living in that sensation of I don't have enough, therefore you create I don't have enough. When I actually work with a client and tell them to list every single damn thing they spend, it's become, and how much on the white paper. I know. How much you spend on iTunes? Do you need iTunes? Well, I hardly listen to music. Well, that's $10 you can spend. Well, you just tell me you are broke, but why are you having 2 cups of Starbucks every day? Don't laugh. I do have clients that say, why are you drinking 2 cups of fancy Starbucks every day? I mean, I don't even drink 2 cups a day. So you see the little money that you save up. So I think, do you agree that when you're working, I believe you work way more people with financial problem than I do. Do you say that a lot of people just living in the concept of poverty, but they don't really know exactly how much money is spent?
Oh, absolutely. Most people don't have, well, I shouldn't say most, but many people don't really think through, they're surviving. And life is a survival. You're going from one to the other, one activity to the other. But to actually stop and relate money and my life, and they're all linked together. And you can't have well-being in one side without well-being in the other. And it doesn't mean how much. It's not the quantity. It's the, and this is a true story. Many years ago, actually, I came across a client who came into the bank, and we were, he brought out his investment, and he said, but can we go through this and figure out what I'm going to have? And we looked at it, and this was about 10 years ago, and he had about $1.2 million. And he was going to have, and he was in his 60s, and he was going to have more than enough generating an income of like 40,000 a year for the rest of his life. And then I asked him what he did, and he said, well, I'm a bellboy at one of the hotels, and that's all he did his entire life. And I said, how did you? And he made 35,000 a year. And I said, well, how did you do that?
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing because his income after retirement was more than what it was when he worked.
Oh.
And he said, at a really young age, I figured out what's important to me.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what's really important to me is to have a certain life. And I could do it because I was single and I didn't think I was going to get married, and I chose not to buy a property. So I lived cheaply. I bicycle to work. I don't own a car. And the money I get, I invest. And I have a job that is no stress. I take 2 weeks off or 3 weeks off and travel all over the world, but I plan. So, I mean, most of us, if you know, if you're thinking of relatively 35,000 a year, how much can you really create from that?
Yeah.
And then there's someone who's actually created more than enough that he can live comfortably better than he actually had.
Yeah, yeah.
It's possible. It's
No,
so much in the mind.
totally. So I really believe, like for me, I personally really believe once you start putting things on paper that you can see it, it helps your brain to structure in a way to planning and organize things. You know, I have to follow her blog because she's my dear friend, right? I like something that you shared not long ago, talking about how if people want to save amount of money, like kids at a young age, you start saving $100 a month, and then by the time they are adult, they will have this amount of money saving up, right? A lot of people don't even think that way.
Yeah, so I think I was just messing around with numbers and doing math.
Yeah.
And I came up with this thing, and I said, well, if somebody at the age of 20 puts $100 aside every month and invest it, earning, say, 7%, which is quite possible.
Yeah.
By the time they're 65, it would be worth about 380,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you start at the age of 40, you'll have to put aside $450 or something like that to get that same result.
Yeah.
So that 54,000 that you have put in your lifetime from the age of 20, that's the amount you would actually put in, is worth 380.
Yeah.
And that's how it compounds. And I think it's so important to teach our children at a young age.
Yeah.
Put a little bit aside. You're
Put a little
20
bit
years aside, put $50 aside.
Yeah.
That's, like you said, 3 or 4 Starbucks.
That's right, 3 or 4 Starbucks.
4 Starbucks a month. Keep
4 Starbucks a month. And then that's it. By the time they get old, they really
Yeah.
appreciate you. But then, no, what I really want to, like one concept, like to you and me, I think is like common sense.
Yeah.
But then I realized when I'm sharing it with people, I notice they look at me like I'm an alien. That concept is, we have certain things we consider priority in our life.
Yeah.
Saving is one of them. So what we do, or planning, or to our business, things like that, right? So what we do is every month, let's say I got this paycheck or I got this money coming in, we will invest to what we consider is important, which can be our business, could be, you know, other than mortgage,
even just going for a
spending
holiday
or something, right? So we will put it aside, and then we think that as priority. So once we got all those money put aside, whatever leftover we consider is our. We can spending whatever habit you have. We're talking about, you might have gamble ability. You might like to gamble once a while. You might go casino, or you might want to buy yourself some luxury product, or you might go for a manicure or pedicure and things like that. But when we talk about it, we talk about that is after what we already put all the money away, and we got an extra money.
Well, you could look at it, I think you got to do it in 2 ways.
Yeah.
So the first one, the way I see it, is that I think you got to pay yourself first.
Yes.
Or if you don't pay yourself, you'll never be able to save.
That's right.
Because you'll always you'll drop off. So if something is like, you know, if you know as a family, or you know that you're going to spend $300-400 eating out, and it's something you enjoy doing, then you got to put that away so that you have that money for that, and then you put it aside. Because I think if you don't pay yourself, then you'll just whatever plan you come up with, and you try to become really strict, you'll fail.
Yes.
And then you'll feel that you're always failing.
It's almost like working out, right?
Yeah, it's like working out.
If you don't enjoy it, never lasts.
True. It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Can't go to the gym.
Yeah. So in a way, the reason I want to bring you on and really talk about this, I really hope, you know, like the whole so-called spirituality is not just impact your mind. is really impacting your life in so many levels.
Yeah.
Financial, to my mind, is a big part of it because a lot of clients I talk to is often struggle, don't know what to
And
do.
you can't do everything if you don't have the means.
That's right. So I always talk about you have to take care of your basic need before your spiritual have room to think about something else.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend for majority of people? Like we were joking about, most of women use their emotion too much. They don't even calculate the bag they spend.
Yeah.
It's like $400, $500. And meanwhile, they talk about, I'm broke every month. I got no
I think
idea.
you got to make a commitment to your finances. So the first thing you got to do is make a commitment. I'm going to learn.
Yes.
I'm going to take I'm going to be in charge of what I have and my life.
Yeah.
It's no different from taking charge of your education or something else. And make it a priority. And start today because we know how things compound and how they grow. So, and I find a lot of times people don't do anything because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's
so
like
so what would be your suggestion to them? Let's say, just imagine you talking to people like my daughter, like 17, 18 years old, and then they are somewhere in between. They think they're grown up, but they're not fully grown up.
What do you suggest?
What would you suggest? Let's just assume
I think
majority
the first
of them
step would
like
be
that.
what would you like in your life? Think and really spend some time, some quality time, thinking of what's important.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now that you know that this is important, then you're willing to work for it.
Yeah.
And then, to me, the basic mundane stuff is actually budgeting. That's the first step, is really
Budgeting.
getting an idea of your budget and your expenses.
That's
and
right. Have a
it
very
down.
clear idea. So you may run into some weird psychic like me, say how much you spend. Don't tell me I don't know. You have to know. You have to have a good idea.
Yeah. Get an idea of your budget. I actually
right.
have an app that I use.
What app would you suggest is good?
I don't know. I just have something that I use on my phone, which I started using a little while ago to track.
Yeah.
And every time I'd spend something, I'd put it in there. And it's like, and it woke me up because I would be going in for a coffee shop and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to spend $5 here and I'm going to put, and I'm like, do I really need it? I'm just going to,
Yeah.
I mean, not that we don't need to live in poverty. I mean, that's not what I meant, but
Yeah.
it just brings a lot of awareness to what you're spending.
Yeah.
And then you can track, okay, this is how much I'm spending on eating out. This is how much I'm spending on things that I really have to have, like rent and food and groceries and kids and whatever it is. And then once you know that you've got something left over at the end, even if it's a little bit, then that goes towards your goals.
Yeah.
So you have some short-term goals, like you might want to travel in a year, you might have pay off some debt, you might have some long-term goals, you might think of midterms, 3 to 5 years, I want to upgrade, sell my home, move into something different. So think of your goals in terms of like short-term in the next 1 year, 1 to 2 years, in the next 3 to 5 years, and then onwards. And then think of how we can put this away and make it work. And you have a plan.
Yeah. I totally agree with them. For me, it's all about planning.
Yeah.
So for me, I give example. If I have $100 as income, right? Since I'm doing my own business, since I got so many things on the go, I would say usually what I do is I put like maybe $2 toward my book, $2 toward my seminar, $2 toward this, and then I may have $3 or $4. Then I decided if I want to save $2 and spend $2. So, we just put it in a small scale. But in my head, I always got very clear idea. This is my budget. And then within the budget, I allow myself to spend like a crazy woman.
Yes.
But then once that limit is reached, which I'm very aware where my limit is,
You stop.
I stop. Like not joking, I seriously stop. I just, I maximize my limit and I'm not just gonna continue spending. So I would say that what you and me are both saying the same is we have to have that very clear budget where the number is, where do we call ourselves stop.
Yeah.
It's also exercising a behavior.
Well, and there's some necessities that you just have to have.
Yeah.
And then, but I think the worst thing you can do for yourself is not doing anything.
Oh yeah, and complaining.
Well, but not doing anything doesn't help anyone.
No, it doesn't.
And each month goes by, just everything just stagnates. Learn about it and do something.
Learn about it, do something. And then she's hosting a retreat. I unfortunately I am not gonna be in Vancouver, but
It's
many
for
of
moms
you
with kids.
Yeah, for mom with kids, like she has some yoga, she can help you with some financial planning and things like that. Of course, people would say, hey, I go for a Mexico trip. It's way cheaper than that. But then you think about it. Yes, you go for a trip for a week. That's it. But this is helping you reshaping your whole idea,
planning.
finance, physically, mentally, and then also give yourself a break, right?
No, and you have kids coming, and
Yeah.
then we've got educators that'll be working with the kids, so the kids
Yeah.
will be doing their own programs, and they'll be going on
Yeah,
outdoor
no,
activities and indoor activities, and it's all
you know,
included.
It's for me. There are some money that you invest toward yourself. It's
Yeah.
for long term wrong. So this is not. This is one of it. This is not just hey, I go for a trip, I drink myself silly, I eat myself silly, then I gain 10 more pounds, come back, then I have to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think this is one of it. So if many of you, if you guys are in Canada or even in US, you are interested in looking into it. Tell us about your link. Tell us about like where can they find you and
Well,
things like that.
it's so the workshop, the retreat is actually called Mind, Body, and Money.
Yeah.
And it's an abundance retreat for mums with kids. And my intention for having it is to educate women, because you're going to, whether you're the sole provider in your family, or you're managing the money, or you're just ignoring it all and you have someone else managing it. I think it's so crucial in terms of empowerment to learn what to do.
That's right.
But at the same time, being a woman and being a mom, I think for me, it's the biggest gift. So it's difficult to walk away for 5 days and leaving your kids alone. So bring them along, and there'll be lots of kids, and the kids can have fun. And it's over spring break in Pemberton, BC, for March 16th to 21st.
Yeah.
And I have a website, and it's called the cordeliaproject.weebly.com.
Cordelia Project. So anyway, I will attach a link if many of you want to check it out. I mean, it worth something. For me, your life is not just day by day. Your life is a whole life things. There are things that, it might seem a lot, but it's worth invest to because the impact is long run. And this might be one of it. So anyway,
thank you.
I finally dragged you to have a broadcast with me since we see each other forever. So anyway, again, if you like what I'm doing, you can always subscribe my channel, or watch a commercial, buy me coffee, or go to my website, ruowen.com. Till then, next time.